If you're watching this pre-recorded, go ahead and fast forward about 8 minutes in, and I'll see you guys soon. Oh crap, I don't have the thing ready. Okay, so I'm just gonna sit here and talk to you for a second. This is the only time that my hair gets to look like this for the day, so, enjoy it while it's here. Um, Stretching class is gonna be super fun today. Why is this taking so long? Aha, here it is. Going live. About to go live. Hey friends, it's Carrie from Stretch Chi. We're here to stretch today. Hope you're doing well. I'm excited for class today. Yesterday's class was super fun. We did a forward fold, triangle pose. It's not triangle, pyramid. It's called pyramid. It was kind of cool. Pretty fun. Today, who knows? Let's see. I'm going to just grab a card from my yoga deck. This is yoga exercise cards by a new Fit Me company. The links in the bio or in the description below if you are interested in these cards. But mainly just to give them a shout out. I kind of like them. It's kind of fun, you know? So let's see. Ooh. You guys. King Pigeon. What? Okay, so this is a tough one, but don't get scared because I'm going to show you how from the Ki-Hara method we can actually do this stretch without being terrified. Like I can show you how you can do this in every way stinking possible. If you are super inflexible, doesn't matter. I'm going to show you how you can do this pose for yourself at your level. Or if you're super flexible, we'll try to get you into that stretch as, you know, we can get into it. But we're going to figure out a way to do this so that your body can be protected and strong. How to do pigeon pose without overstressing your joints. Or one of the big problems that I find with pigeon, especially for my students who come in who do a pigeon pose a lot, is that they're like overstretched through their glutes. And that gives them this like inability to recontract the glutes completely. And it's not that they're like completely overstretched, it's that they're just like they temporarily stretch too long. It's physics, but it comes from this principle called Hooke's law, where basically like the spring goes so far, and then if you continue stretching it, if you put a weight on it, which is basically your entire body, it continually stretches down, and it takes a while for that to creep back to the place where it's springy. We want our muscles to be springy all the time. So I'm going to show you how to do pigeon pose in a way that's really safe and keeps your muscles active. It's different than what you would usually have in a yoga class because a lot of times yoga can, well, not all yoga, please don't, I'll get all kinds of slack about this because people get really mad about when I talk about different types of yoga. There are some yoga classes and some yoga teachers who are really great and who consider stretching to be very active. There are other ones that think that pigeon pose is a relaxation pose, and it's really not. You do not want to put all your body weight onto a relaxed joint like that. That's a surefire way to get straight into a hip replacement. So I'm going to show you how to do this in a way that's really, really safe. So yay for King Pigeon. Today's King Pigeon Day. That's my pigeon face. Right? Okay, and now I also have my Osho deck, Osho Zen Tarot. I love this deck. The link for this is also in my bio, and I'm going to pick 3 cards, and we'll take those 3 cards and focus on them today in our stretches. So I'll just pick certain stretches, and we'll take a focus of those cards and see how that all works for you, what happens. So the first card I picked out was fighting. So this is tough. This is a really active, mental, like turmoil kind of card. And so we can think about that in our stretches and how we can let go of this like inner fight that we have. We have stress, juggling all the things. This is literally like a man balancing on a ball, playing the trumpet, juggling candles that are on fire, and the monkey is under the ball with a needle ready to pop it. So, you know, and he's holding the monkey string. So it's a funny one, but it's all about like all the juggling. So from an emotional standpoint, we'll think about that today. Think about what stress is doing to us, what we're juggling, and what we can let go of, and then how we're holding on to that in our muscles. It's one of the coolest things about this that I've noticed. We've just been doing these, like the cards like this for a week. I think it's been really fun, is that we hold on to so much in our bodies, and when you start to stretch and let go, then you can let go of these things that are held on into your body without even really thinking about it. It doesn't have to be this huge mental thing where you're like journaling and analyzing, and you don't have to like set pieces of paper on fire and let them fly off into the moon. Like you just have to stretch it out. Like put that piece into your awareness, stretch that tension out of your body. When it's not held in your body anymore, then it can come to the surface and you can just let it go. It's pretty cool. And then the last one I have here is participation. It's kind of cool. It's like 4 people coming together, and it's like an energy circle in the middle. If you see like that yin yang kind of energy circle, it's about recruiting in all different ways so that you can come together and combine energies. So it could be like participating with other people, like figuring out like who are the people that balance you out, what are the 4 pillars of your table, right? Like how are all 4 pillars holding up? But it could also be about your body. And one of the really cool things about resistance stretching, I don't know if you guys have noticed, when we stretch, we always do a front, a back, a side, and a side. And then sometimes we turn it this way and we do the diagonals. And that's one of the basic principles of Ki-Hara, is that we do this 4-tiered system. So we're actually balancing out all 4 legs of the table. And if you have one leg that's not balanced right, then it throws the whole thing off, right? It's like when you're at the restaurant and the table's wobbly and you put a little thing under the table, right? You fold up the napkin and put it under the thing so that it doesn't wobble, because the whole thing could just fall right over, right? So I'm so excited. This is going to be so fun. And King Pigeon, holy cow, they call it a hard stretch in the card. It's towards the end. But like I said, we're going to work on it in all different ways. She is stretching out her abdomen, her quads, her glutes, the front of her chest, her neck. Like there is so much going on. So we'll see how it goes. I can't say that I'm going to be able to grab my foot behind my head, but we'll play around and see what happens. Do some problem solving and play with that. If you guys are watching, go ahead and say in the chat, like, be like, hey, I'm here. Write it in the chat. If you are watching live, I will be able to see that you're watching. If you're watching after the fact, or if you're watching this like it's live but you're behind a little bit, go ahead and speed it up. If you miss a few stretches, it's not the end of the world. But it's actually much cooler for me for you to be able to chat with me. If you put a note in the chat and you're not live, I won't see it until after. Okay, so make sure you say hi. Tell me if there's anything that's weird for you, or if you need some extra help. Okay, and I'm sorry, you guys, if the connection looks a little pixelated. I can see that it looks like that right now. My internet says that it's excellent connection right now, so fingers crossed. If for some reason we get cut off, I'm going to log out, restart my computer, and I'll be back on in about 5 minutes. So just go to the YouTube channel and we'll be right back on. Just go get a drink of water or something and figure it out from there. Okay? All right, my friends, let's get started. So let me read. There we go. Okay. You can see me. There we go. All right. Now, usually when we start a stretch, I would, we'll take our physical stretch. We'd go right into it and try it out. But King Pigeon isn't necessarily one that we want to just dive right into, right? We want to warm up into this first because it's pretty intense. So let's go ahead and start off with our quads. And we're going to work through those, work around our legs, see if we can get our arms up like this so that we can really get that deep back bend to grab our foot behind and see what happens, okay? But to start with our quads, we're going to take a towel or just take your mat and double it up, or a pillow or something, and put it up against the wall. And then you'll take your right leg and drop it so that your knee goes against the wall and your foot is flat on the wall. And then you can come up into a lunge. Now from here, you're going to push both legs in opposite directions. So you'll push your foot into the wall, and your front leg will push into the floor. And it's like your legs are going in opposite directions. So you push with your back leg to bring your body forward, and you push with your front leg to bring your body back. You just go back and forth just like that. Forward for strength, and back for your stretch. And you go forward for strength and back for stretch. Tuck your tailbone a little in this one to see if you can get a little deeper stretch through the quad if this feels good. If you have any pain in your knee, if your foot's cramping, can't get into this position, you could try pulling your knee a little further away from the wall. And if that still doesn't feel good, then just skip this stretch. We're going to have plenty of time. We'll actually come back and do this one again to see if we can get a little more range. But just be gentle with yourself. If any of you guys are watching this for the first time, it's your first time with Ki-Hara, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. There's a little button in the corner right there that looks like a play button. Click that to subscribe, and then make sure you also click the little bell icon. That will tell you when I do a live class. It'll give you a notification so you won't miss class, or if I post any other videos or whatever, you'll have them. Also, all of these stretches are in playlists. There's a playlist, it's like a stretch by stretch playlist. And you can go into that playlist and learn every single stretch one by one. So if this is like overwhelming for you, just go ahead and get out of this and go look at my playlist and see if you can learn a little bit more about Ki-Hara before you just dive right in. There are 3 basic rules that you have to follow to do this method the right way. The first one is that you move all the time. So you can see I'm moving back and forth. Second rule is that you resist all the time. So I'm pushing my foot into the wall. My other leg is also pushing into the floor to give me resistance. And then the last rule is that if anything hurts, you stop, okay? Do not continue stretching if it doesn't feel good. This is like super, super, super important. Don't do anything that doesn't feel good, okay? That's how you hurt yourself. It's not worth it. It's totally not worth it. Now to get out of this stretch, put your hands on the floor. Come down onto both knees. Adjust your towel if you need to, or your mat or whatever. We're gonna do the left side. So you'll bring your left leg up, your knee on the floor, on your towel or on your mat, your foot flat on the floor so that your toes are pointing up. But if this is uncomfortable for the top of your foot, you can put a towel under your foot, or you can turn your foot so that your toes are pointing like towards the floor, kind of. It's like this, so that your toes are against the wall like this. And then bring your other leg up so that you're in a lunge. Now, if you can't get up into this lunge, it means that your knee is too close to the wall, so you can pull it away from the wall and come up into that lunge. Now from here, push with your front leg into the floor. It's like I'm trying to push my mat away from me. My back leg is gonna fight by pushing into the wall. So there's this fight between the 2 legs. And I want you to pay attention to that fight, like it's like a tug of war. So push your foot into the wall, fight, 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 and push forward. And then use your front leg to fight and push back. You should feel that stretch through the front of your quad. Think about this fighting element between the front and the back. Who's winning? Let your back leg win, and then let your front leg win. There's a battle between the 2. So find the fight. Forward for strength and back for stretch. You can tuck your tailbone if that feels good. You should feel the stretch to the front of your quad. And again, if it doesn't feel good, just leave it. Just leave it. Oh, it's a good stretch. It's a good stretch. All right, now I can see that some people are logging in. I'm glad to see you guys. Make sure you say hi so I know who you are. I want to know who's here. I also have been stuck in my house with a cat, so, say hi because it's just me and my cat. Hopefully she'll come out. She's still awake. She'll come out and say hi, I hope. And if you are watching this after the fact, zoom ahead. You're not going to miss much. I promise. Zoom ahead so that you can chat with us too. Say hi. Okay, when you guys are ready, you're going to put your hands down. You do that so you don't fall over, because falling over is not conducive to good flexibility. So put your hands on the floor. Then take your front leg and bring it back, and then you can come out of the stretch. Okay? Oh, great. Good, you guys. Feeling good? I hope so. Next, we're going to do a stretch for our inside hamstring. This is called the medial hamstring. It's on the inner part of your leg. So you'll lay on your back. Bring your right leg up and let your knee fall open to the side. It's about a 45-degree fall open, okay? Then grab your heel with your right hand. Kick your heel down so that your heel is coming towards your butt. And this is contracting the inside part of your hamstring right here. Then keep kicking down and use your arm to pull up. So my leg is fighting and my arm is winning. Kick down for strength and pull up for stretch. Not bad, huh? We can think about this one and like that table example I was telling you, like that analogy. This is like one leg of the table. Your quad is the other leg of the table. So those two things are working hand in hand. And if one piece isn't working quite right, the other piece isn't going to be able to hold you up. Like your table will be wonky. We don't want a wonky table. Shut up, I don't want a wonky table. I want my table to be normal so my glasses don't fall over. So same with your body. You don't want your body to be wonky. So we want this all balanced out. And so what's happening here, this is kind of fascinating if you think about it. As you kick down, this hamstring is contracting and your quad's actually stretching on the other side. You don't feel it so much because it's not that intense, but the quad is long just like it was when it was on the wall. Then as you pull up into this stretch, this hamstring is stretching out like from here to here, but my quad's shortening, right? And if you put your hand on top of your quad, you can feel it stretching here and then shortening here. It's this like pulley system between the two muscles. It's so cool. And I think it's so sad that people don't think about this all the time. Your body is this like yin yang between the two pieces, right? And I have a video actually called what does it mean anyway, or something. It's like, what does Ki-Hara mean? What is it? Ki-Hara is all about energy and balance and keeping the two things combined. And basically your Hara is your core. It's like your center of gravity. So what we want is for all the forces to be balanced around the core, right? It's kind of like all the legs of the table. We want them all to be balanced around your core, from the top to the bottom, from the outside to the outside, to the front to the back, to the side, whatever. It all needs to be balanced. So that's what this is all about. It's all about having like equal participation of all parts of your muscles. And then what happens is the center of gravity is really in the center of your body, not a little forward, not a little to the side, not a little, it's perfectly in the middle. So you have no need to make adjustments. What ends up happening is your body will start to make adjustments similar to like when you're at the restaurant, you put the napkin under the table to make the table level. That napkin doesn't do anything. You need to fix the legs, right? So anyway, that's my Tuesday morning rant. So what happens when I've already had 8 cups of coffee this morning. It's true. All right, so now bring your left leg out to the side. Grab your heel with your left hand, your thumb on the bottom. Kick down for strength. That hamstring shortens. Pull up for your stretch. You're lengthening, and you just go back and forth. Holy cow, this one's tight today. I don't know. Maybe it was something from yesterday's forward folds. Could be. I got a little sore. It's okay, it happens. It just means that things are adjusting and changing. That's always a good thing. So kick down for strength. This muscle's short, your quad's long. As you come up, you can touch your quad here. You can feel it shorten as this one lengthens out. It's kind of cool. It's a nice little balancing act. It's like a pulley system. Kicking down for strength and up for stretch. Think about how that balance happens. And think about how so much of your body is participating in this movement, even though you really only feel it in the one spot. Now, if you don't feel it, then skip the stretch. It means that your body is not balanced properly, and we need to adjust some of the other legs first. So we'll do that. We'll fix it. Down for strength and up for stretch. And you just go back and forth. All right, friends, let's come up into a seated position. This is our groin stretch. It's kind of like our butterfly stretch. So you bring your heels together, your feet together. I have the outside of my feet on the floor and my knees open. Now you can find whatever position feels the best for you, but in this position, you should feel like your hip bones are seated on the floor on either side in a very happy way. If that doesn't feel good to you, you may need to raise up a little bit. So you could sit on a block. You could sit on, like, get a couple books and sit on those books. But that'll raise you up a little bit, and that'll make your back feel better, your knees, everything will feel better. You could also bring your feet further away from you. so that this distance between your heels to your groin is bigger. That will take some of the pressure off as well. So you just find the range that fits for you. Usually if you just pull your feet in, they'll find a natural stop. So just find a place where you feel good. But you should feel like you could like give someone high fives in front of you without falling over. Okay? If you're like, whoa, then not working. But you should be able to like play patty cake, right? With someone in front of you. Okay, now that you got that, put your elbows on your knees and you're going to push down and kind of sweep out with your arms like this. And then your legs will push in. So my inner thighs are going to pull me in like this. My arms are going to sweep open. So I pull in. This is strength training. As I do that, my feet are going to turn so they're flat on the floor. And then I'm going to use my arms to open me up for my stretch. And I just turn my feet so that now the outside of my feet are touching the floor. And then you just go back and forth. I'm resisting the whole time with my inner thighs. And you know you've got this one if it shakes a little bit. It should be kind of trembly, okay? If it's not, you're probably pushing too hard. So you might want to lighten up a little. So you just go back and forth. Up for strength and open for your stretch. You can lean forward a little bit into this. I grab my feet so that I can like pull myself forward. That usually feels good. And then as I come up, I lean back and I get a little stretch in my shoulders. That's nice too. You just go back and forth. If you feel this in your glutes, like on the outside or on the outside of your hips, then it means that we have some other work to do. So you can just skip this stretch. It's okay. If you're new to Ki-Hara, you might find that you're skipping a lot of stretches. That is totally normal. Don't even worry about it. Because the benefit that you might get today is that we find 2 or 3 stretches that are like the key stretches that unlock things. Then come back tomorrow and you might find that instead of 2 or 3 stretches, it's 7 stretches. And then the next day it's, 12 stretches. Who knows? But sometimes it takes a while for your body to unlock certain things. We just have to find the right key. It's like there's one piece that we have to fix. So once we do, then everything's fine. Up for strength and down for stretch. Oh, nice. Now you don't have to fight yourself on this one. You can just take your time, a little bit of resistance, and let go of that feeling of the fight. Okay, a little less resistance maybe, like instead of this tier of resistance, step it down on the ladder just a bit. Let go of that feeling of like, I gotta do this. Grr, right? Put the fight away. You don't need it. Not worth it. I feel like I could do these stretches all day long. You noticed already. We've been doing class for a half hour. We've only done 3 stretches. It's not true, but we're close. All right. The next stretch we're going to do is for your lateral hamstring. Now, I've been liking to do this against the wall. So I'm going to show you how to do this. You can also do this laying on your back if you want to. But if you want to do this against the wall, just sit back. Hey, that could have been a disaster. Yesterday I spilled an entire cup of coffee on my yoga mat. Can you imagine? Okay, so the upper part of my back is against the wall. My hips are about, 6 inches away from the wall. It's kind of like it feels when you sit in a beach chair, like at the pool. You should feel like that. Then I'll mirror so that it looks the same as you. Bring your right leg up. You're going to turn your knee to the left and your heel will come out to the right. So your heel is in line with your hip, like on the outside, and your knee is like in front of your sternum. This might be a little hard for you to reach, especially if you've got a little belly or if like you can't seem to get around that corner to turn. So it's okay to have your leg a little further out, but you're going to want to take your towel or a strap and grab your foot like this so that your knee is further away from your body, but you have a little more distance, so you don't have to have such long arms, okay? From here, you're gonna kick this heel down towards the outside of your hip bone here. And then you're gonna pull up, and as you pull up, you're pulling towards the right side. It's an up motion still, but I'm pulling up to like this point. So it's a little to the right of my head. So you kick down for strength, and you pull up for stretch. And this you're going to feel on the outside here, on the outside of your leg, like it's a hamstring stretch, but it's going to be towards the right side of your leg here. Keep your knee pointing towards your left shoulder, and we'll see what you feel. This is a really good stretch for balance, even though, we're not like in a balancing position, but it totally is. And I think it's really interesting that our card that we picked for today for our emotional stretches is totally about being able to balance and balancing stress in life. And like, what are you juggling? How many things are you trying to juggle right now? And what's bringing you stress? It's kind of amazing that we have these stresses. Human beings like to suffer. This is just how human life is. It's just what we do. And it's funny because even in a utopian society, we will find something to suffer about. We like drama. It's just what we like. So here we are in quarantine. Like, if you were at work all the time and somebody was like, hey, you want a month off work where nobody expects you to do anything and like, it's great. You'd be like, yes, I want that, right? Like, yes, I want that. I'm going to switch legs now. So I'll come back to that thought. Bring your left leg up. Grab the outside of your foot with your right hand. Turn your knee towards your elbow, your heel towards this outside hip. Kick down for strength and pull up for stretch. This time up to the right side, up at the wall, up here, but at a diagonal. So from my hip to my knee to my foot is this diagonal line, okay? So here we are with all this free time, sort of, and I can't tell you like how much the dishes stress me out, right? Or like homeschooling your children, which maybe was in the back of your mind for so long. Like, what if I homeschool my kids? Wouldn't that be so great? And then all of a sudden, here you are doing e-learning at home with your kids and how tough that is. Oh my gosh, or like trying to balance working at home on your phone, the Zoom meetings, whatever. Like, we just have new stresses in our life. So think about what kind of stresses you're juggling around. What are the lit candles that you're throwing and trying to catch? It's a bad move, right? See what you can let go of. Or see what you can accept as like, this isn't actually bad stress, it's actually kind of good stress. We all have good stress. Somebody, I don't know who wrote this down. I think a lot of people say it, but there's like this idea of distress, which is like the bad stress, and there's eustress, EU stress. Eustress, which is like the good stress. So we have things in our life that are good stresses and bad stresses. It just depends on how you think about them in your mind, right? Let's see what your body does with it today as we unlock these muscles. You might notice that some of the stresses that you were really like were killing you yesterday might just evaporate today. It happens. It totally happens. All right, we're going to go into our quad stretch again. We're really working on this quad stretch so that we can do this king pigeon pose. For those of you who joined late, today's stretch of the day is king pigeon, which is basically like this, but even with your hands over your head, which I don't think I can do. But that's king pigeon. So we're working towards that today. It doesn't mean that you have to do it. It just means that we're working towards that stretch. So now on all fours, bring your right leg up. I'll mirror. Bring your left leg up so that your knee is close to the wall and your foot is against the wall. You can adjust your knee, remember, so you can pull your knee further away if this is too intense. You can bring it closer if you want more intense, okay? Then the other leg will come up into a lunge. And you're going to push your front leg into the mat, your back leg into the floor, come forward for strength, and back for stretch. And we just go back and forth, forward for strength, and back for stretch. That's it. No problem, right? This stretch should actually feel a lot better now. So you can play around with it a little bit. Maybe try to get a little more fascia stretch in this by reaching your hands up towards the ceiling like you're yawning. Only do that if you feel like you're not falling over. If you're really having troubles with your balance, then this is probably not a good idea. You could tuck your tailbone if that feels good. Wiggle your hips a little bit, side to side. That really wraps the stretch around, but you want to be really gentle with yourself and only do what feels good, okay? Another way that you can really intensify this stretch is to think about pulling your knees together. So it's like you're trying to pull this knee towards this knee. So as you come back into the stretch, try to pull in with your knees. It really intensifies it. So pretty awesome. Good, guys. Good work. Oh, everybody feeling good? Say yes in the chat. Say yes. I know some of you watch this on your TV, so you don't have the ability to chat. That's unfortunate. You could always put it on your phone too, though, and then you can chat on the phone. Okay, hands down. We're going to do the other side. And let's see, I'm just going to double up this a little bit more. Okay, now your right leg will come up. Your foot flat against the wall. Find the place where your knee wants to be. Oh, so much adjusting. And then bring the other leg to the front. And then from here, come up into your lunge. You're going to push with your back leg into the wall. Push with your front leg into the mat, kind of like you're trying to push forward even. It's like if you had a sock on, like you were trying to make your sock even more on, okay? And then use your back leg to push you forward. Use your front leg to push you back. And then remember the little things that you can do to intensify the stretch. So like if you want more stretch, you could tuck your tailbone. You could yawn so you can reach up and see how that feels, right? You could, oh, right, you could try to pull your knees together. Whew, that's intense. So you just go back and forth and see what feels good to you. You could kind of wiggle your hips a little, see if you can find that a little bit more. Sometimes I can get this stretch, if I get my fascia just right, into my jaw. So you can kind of make like animal mouth faces, like "arr," like I'm a monster, "arr," like that. And sometimes that will pull the stretch up even like through your torso and your face. The fascial line for this runs all the way through the front of your body, from your head all the way down to your toes. So you might feel it through your abdomen. If you really reach up, you might feel through your abs. Oh, sometimes this will even open your sinuses up if you get it just right. It's a little bit as intense, but it's true. It's pretty awesome. Oh, sweet mama. It's a good one. Whew. Okay. And now let's bring our hands back down to the mat. Put one knee down. And let's try our hips. So let's go into reverse pigeon. So you're going to lay on your back. Bring your right leg in so that your foot comes towards the TV and your knee goes the opposite direction. So you're going to externally rotate your thigh, bring the other leg up, and let your ankle rest on top of that leg. Then reach through and grab your other leg behind. So this is my right leg, my left leg I'm holding on to with my hands. You're going to resist with your right leg, like you're trying to bring it back to neutral. So neutral would be like if I was sitting in a chair, both legs are the same. I'm trying to bring that right leg back to there, but because my left leg is here, it's stopping me, and I'm holding with my hands even to try to pull in, so I'm giving it a little resistance. Then I'm going to push with my right leg out. That drives me away. You could even come up into a crunch if that feels good, and then pull in for your stretch. All the way in for a stretch, and then out for strength. Now this is just like pigeon pose. It's just like we're going to do in king pigeon, except that in king pigeon, your leg's on the floor and your resistance is your entire body. So that's why we're doing it this way first, so that you can regulate that resistance a bit and see what it feels like to resist with your right leg. Feel what that fight feels like for you. So push, 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 give some fight with your right leg, then your arms fight and pull you back in. You just go back and forth. Now we're aiming for about 10 of each stretch, but you can do as many as you want. Just do what feels good to you, right? You're in charge of your own body. You decide how much fight to give. If you resist too much, that fight's going to be too intense. Like, you know, somebody who's like, they fight so hard that like veins pop out of their forehead and they're like, rah, and you're like, you know what, you don't really have to fight that hard. Like, I was going to say yes anyway, right? You're fine. But sometimes people don't fight enough and they're like, I don't fight, right? Like, you want a little bit of balance between the two. You want to find the fight that works the best for you. And it should be enough of like a give and take between the front and the back, or between the right and the left, so that you can feel that fight, okay? Let's switch to the other side. You can lay on your back. Bring your left leg up and put it on top of your right leg. Your knee will come out towards the wall, or your knee's like coming out to the left. Your foot is facing the right. You're gonna reach through and grab your right leg with both hands. Push with your left leg like you're trying to go to neutral. Resist with your arms and find that fight. What does it feel like for you? Are you like really fighting a lot, or are you fighting not enough? Are you being too passive here, right? Find the fight. Find a good level of fight, a healthy level of fight. So push forward with your left leg, pull in with your arms. You can lay back if that feels better for your neck. You should feel your glute on the left side, and it should be a pretty good stretch. If you don't feel that, then just skip this one. It's okay. We'll do a different stretch. We'll come back to it later too, because we're going to really dive into pigeon in a little bit. So in for stretch and out for strength. I'm fighting with my arms and I'm fighting with my left leg, and there's just a tug of war between the two. My left leg wins and then my arms win. My right leg's just a lever. I'm just holding on to it. It doesn't do anything. You just go back and forth. Whew, okay. Oh, now we're going to work on our inner thighs. So you can bring your legs straight up like this. Now notice my femur bones, these guys here, are perpendicular to the floor, or at least they should be. It's kind of hard for me to see from here, but they should be pretty perpendicular. I'm going to take my hands, I'm going to turn them so that my thumbs are pointing down and grab my knees on the inside. Now I'm going to try to squeeze my legs together, and then I'm going to use my arms to pull them apart. I'll show you what this looks like from the other angle, but I wanted you to see it from here because so many times people are like way into the stretch or they're way out. You can also bend your knees and do this stretch like this. Oh, that's shaky. That's okay. Shake is good in this one. So from here, bring your feet up towards the ceiling, grab your knees, squeeze in for strength and open for stretch. And squeeze in for strength and open for stretch. In for strength and open for stretch. That little bit of like shake, it's good. So go with it. And this one you could think about like balancing again, finding that level of peace with the stresses that you have in your life. Like imagine if you were holding a ball on top of your feet, or like two, and you were trying to keep them both balanced in the air. Could you do it? What would that look like to you? Could you feel it? Like how you're trying to keep the balls balanced? See if you can find that juggling act. And how easy it is to juggle two things, but now imagine you had like 7 of them. You don't need that much stuff. So maybe today when you're feeling a little stressed out, when you feel like you're juggling too many things, put some of them down. Remember that you can only really hold 2 things at once without dropping the rest, right? Or without only putting your attention on one thing at a time. Like you can juggle 7 things if you're talented enough, but you're only holding each one for a very short period of time. The rest of the time they're flying around in the air. So see what you can juggle today. Try to put your emphasis on maybe 1 or 2 things. See if you can focus on those, right? All right. Sorry, guys. I was on calls all day yesterday, which was awesome. But I was talking so much, my throat's a little like today. It is what it is. All right. So now let's go into, oh yes, hip flexors. Now we usually do a hip flexor lunge, and if you guys know that stretch and you want to do it, you're more than welcome to. But I want to show you a different stretch for the hip flexors that I really like, which is also about balance and stress. So one of the cool things about hip flexors, not about hip flexors, but one of the cool things about Ki-Hara in general is that we are only going into what's called dynamic stability in each stretch. That means that every stretch that we do is stable in our movement, which means that we can get back to center. So we're going to test our center of gravity and then pull ourselves back up. So what I want you to do is take one leg and put it in the front. This is my right leg. Hug your left leg, round your back and kind of like fall back a little bit on your pelvis, but find a place where you can just sit here in a comfortable way. Make sure there's nothing behind you because you might fall over. Now what we're going to do is strengthen and stretch our hip flexor, which is right, I'm going to turn around. It's right here in the front of your hip. And so what you do is you squeeze that hip flexor to pull you forward, and then you very slowly tip your body back, fighting gravity. You'll feel this muscle here and kind of up through your abs. It might get a little shaky. And then as soon as you feel like you're going to fall back, you'll notice your foot starts to pop up, then pull yourself back up. It's okay if you just go a little bit like this. If you feel like you're going to fall over, it just means that this hip flexor isn't grabbing enough for you to be able to go that far into the stretch. So you just hip back, find that hip flexor stretch, which will just feel like kind of a burn right through here, and then you come right back up. And you tip back, and right back up. Now you can imagine the same as that, the stress picture where the guy's like on the ball and he's like, the monkey's getting ready to pop the ball. Imagine that you're leaning off the ball and then you find that center again. You're just about to fall off and then you find your center. But you never fall, right? You don't fall. You find that center and then bring it right back up. Dynamic stability, you guys, it's the cool stuff. It's what all the cool kids are doing. It's so important, especially if you think about I don't know how old you guys are, but when I'm like 90 years old, I don't want to worry about falling over and breaking my hip. I do not want to lose my center of gravity. That's so important. And really, when you think about aging, a lot of times what people describe as aging, like if you look at a picture of what an old person looks like, they're always hunched over like this, right? Which means that their center of gravity is way in the front of their body. It's not even inside their body. When you see somebody who looks really young and lively, regardless of their age, their center of gravity is in the middle and their posture's good and they stand up tall and they can move easily. And that's what we want, right? I want to be able to get up and down off the floor. I want to be able to move around and walk and do all sorts of things until the day I die. And so that means that I have to keep my stability in my center of gravity. I have to make sure that I can always get off balance and get back to it without losing myself, without falling over. So you tip back, you should feel your hip flexor here in the left, and then you pull forward, and that gives you the strength here. This muscle shortens. You can actually feel it. If you put your hand here right on top of your hip, it's about this big. It feels like a rubber band. And you can feel it stretch when you lean back. And then you can feel it shorten as you come forward. The muscle is just like a rubber band. It's pretty cool. My floor's creaky. Those aren't my muscles, I promise. This stretch, I'm telling you guys, can go all the way up into your rib cage. The psoas muscle is huge. It's one of the biggest muscles in your body. Now, a lot of times people only feel the psoas right in the front of their hip, but it goes from your femur bone all the way up into your ribs, and some people even think that it hooks into the back of your diaphragm. So it's connected to breathing. It's connected to moving, swinging your legs, but also it creates kind of like a hammock through the center of your body. So it's also affects digestion and your reproductive system and just mobility in general. It just getting the psoas released gives you so much more fluidity in everything that you do. It's pretty fantastic. So yay for the psoas. All right, now let's do a stretch for your hamstrings. You're going to lay on your back. Grab the ball of your foot with both hands, kick down for strength, and then pull straight up for your stretch. Kicking down for strength. This gets your hamstring engaged, kicking your heel towards your glutes, and then use your arms, pull up over your head. You're going to feel this stretch to the back of your hamstring, the back of your leg. So kick down for strength and up for stretch. And you just go back and forth. I think this one is our last mental stretch of the day. So this is our last stretch we're going to talk about fighting on. So maybe, since we've worked on some other ideas about the fight, like how you're fighting in your body, how you're fighting here and there, you could think about what that word means to you right now. Are you fighting with your spouse because you're in the same room all the time? Are you fighting with yourself because you're giving yourself obligations that you don't want to fulfill? Are you fighting with your emotions because you want to be out, but you know you can't? Are you fighting with the world? Are you fighting on the internet? Are you one of those people that's putting bad things up on Facebook about how horrible life is? Are you putting good things out? Where's your fight? Where are you feeling the stress about fighting, and what can you let go of? Or like, what does that feel like in your body even? Can you find out what fighting feels like to you and then let it go? Whew. Down for strength and up for stretch. And then let's find the other side. Kick down for strength and up for stretch. I like to hold my head up, and I'm just holding my toes with my fingertips. It's kind of a nice way to do this one, but you can do this however you feel comfortable. You just basically need to grab on somehow. So either the ball of your foot or your heel. Some people will grab their calf. Some people really like to use the rope or a strap. That's okay too. The towel, whatever works the best for you. You know what I've also noticed with the people that I've talked to recently, the fight that we're having existentially is pretty huge right now. And I don't know if you guys are going through it too. I would love to hear your comments or send me a little message if you're also going through this. But being under lockdown like this, being in a pandemic, is making a lot of people really think about what they have fought for in the past and how it really doesn't matter at all. Like that's like I have fought so hard to keep my studio running and open, and now it's all it is a room across town. Like that's all it is, just a room across town. And I'm still able to connect to you guys, and I'm still able to do the things that I do. But I think about like all the fight that I put into making sure that I had that room. It's a kind of, it just is funny to me. So seeing what kind of things that you were fighting so hard for in the past, and recognizing today that they don't matter. Like it doesn't matter. So if you're in that place, you can let that go, right? You can let that go. Like right now, I can let go of my studio. I don't care that there's dust growing. There's a poor plant in there that's dying. That probably is sad. But like it's okay. I can let go of it. And starting something new and fresh, and like new life can come out of something that you let go of when you let go of the fight, right? Right. Okay. So now we're going to go into pigeon pose. Now you can go back to reverse pigeon if you want, which was this one. So you can stay here if that feels good to you. Now in the king pigeon, there's also a quad stretch. So if you want, you can pull this one down as well and see if you can get some quad stretch in there too. That might be kind of intense for you. So you can try that out. So what I've done is, instead of holding my leg here, I'm holding my shin on the top. That gives me quad stretch. But it's a pretty minor quad stretch, so you might not feel it. Now I also want to show you guys, for those of you who are like, this is really tough for me, Carrie, I want to show you a different version. So I'm going to grab my chair. All right, hopefully you can see me okay. I put my right leg on top of my knee. This is also pigeon pose, and you might be all the way up here. That's okay. What you're going to do is try to push that leg down like it's trying to reach the floor, and then lift your heel up off the floor with your left leg. So this is my right leg. Would be your left leg, okay? and you just go back and forth like this. You could lean into it if it feels good. That might be all that you do today, and that's all right. For those of you who want to go into the full stretch, come back to your mat. Do not feel like you need to do this if it's not for you, okay? Find what works the best for you. And remember that Ki-Hara is about exploring what your body wants, playing around to see like, okay, can I do this or can I not do it? But if this feels like it might be dangerous for you, then just don't do it. So what I'm gonna do is take my right leg in front. I've got my knee bent, but not at 90 degrees. And sometimes in a yoga class, they'll tell you to be at 90 degrees, but you have to do what feels the best for you. So find what feels good to you. Take your bottom leg and bring it behind you, and you can even stretch it out so that you're pretty wide, like as wide as you want to be or as close as you want your body to be to the floor. Now from here, what I'm going to do is push my right leg into the ground so that the weight comes off my hands. So you want to find that resistance. Now this might be tough for you because you are literally having to hold up your entire body with your glutes, and that can be tough. So what it might mean is that by pushing your leg into the ground, you can take the pressure off your fingers, but you don't have to take your hands off the mat. You can just do what feels good to you, okay? So you find what works the best for you. You can dip down, like if you were a pigeon getting some food, and then you come back up, and you want to come up into as much of a back bend as your body feels like it wants to, and then down and up. You can stay here if you want. If you want to do more, you can bring your back leg up and reach and grab it with one hand so that you can come into this quad stretch. You can pump your quad back and forth if that feels good. And so you can get into that deeper stretch that way. If it feels good to you to take your right hand off, you can do that. In the full pose, she's reaching behind. I can't do that. I'm not even going to try. You can if you want. You would grab your foot with your hands, okay? To make that into a Ki-Hara pose, what that would mean is that you reach up and then you come right back down to the floor, all the way down. And then all the way up, taking the pressure off in the way that feels good to you and reaching back if it feels good, okay? Oh, that's intense. Now, let's do the other side. So you're gonna bring your left leg in front, your right leg behind. You're gonna try to find this force in your left leg so that you can take your hands off the mat. Either just the pressure so that you can get your hands off the mat, or completely off, whatever feels good to you. And you just go back and forth. All right, so back and forth. Up and down. You can go all the way down to the floor. You can come up, trying to find that back bend. I'm using my body to do this, so I'm actually like contracting my extensors in my spine to pull me up. I'm using this leg to push me back. My arms aren't really doing much. It's not their job. You just go back and forth. Your body knows when to put on the brakes, so you just do what your body says is good, okay? Then, if you feel like it, you can bring that back leg up and see if you can get some quad stretch in there too. All right? So you can pump the quad back and forth if it feels good. You can try to get this hand off if that feels good. You could even try reaching back and grabbing if that feels good. Down all the way, down with your foot too, and then bring everything back up and back and forth. And you just do what feels good to you. Your body knows when to stop, right? So you just do what feels good. And if this is too intense for you, just work in the place that feels not intense, right? Now you notice, like, I'm not adding on to any extra things. Like, I could take a strap and connect it to my foot to try to get back into that back bend. But my body is like, this is good. This is where I feel good. And I don't really know that it's healthy for me to get back to that point. So I'm not even going to try, right? Because that's it. That's what Ki-Hara is about. It's about testing what your body feels comfortable doing and then getting out of it. Can you go to some extreme range of motion, stop yourself and get out of it without hurting yourself or without falling over, right? Everything that you do should be stable. Got it? Okay, I'm out of breath. That one was tough. Let's move on to some arm stretches. What do you say? I say yes. Okay, so let's do our rotator cuff. So bring your fingers together like you're, in Ohio we played this game called the potato game. It was like where you hit people's hands, and if it lands on you, then you split your hands, and then you know. Anyway, so bring your hands together like a potato. Put your thumbs right over the crown of your head, and then you're gonna try to squeeze your elbows together. And you just go back and forth. Open for strength and squeeze for your stretch. Open for strength, squeeze for stretch. You should feel this in the back of your shoulders. Now, if you want, you can bring your elbows up even higher. That will get a little bit of a deeper stretch in here. That's a good one. Do what feels good to you. Open for strength and close for stretch. You can feel your shoulder blades opening and closing. Nice. Imagine that you are balancing a ball between your thumb and your forehead. And you don't want the ball to fall. It's kind of fun. It's a pretend one, but pretend like it's there. Nice job, guys. Okay, now let's work on the front of our shoulders. This is also going to get into our calves too. We're going to do a stretch that's very similar to downward dog in yoga, but we're going to add resistance because that's what we do. So you're going to come onto all fours. Bring your hands right under your shoulders. Tuck your toes under. Come up to a place where your legs are completely straight. And then you're going to push back and forth. So the way that you push is you push your hands into the mat like you're trying to throw your mat to the other side of the room. Then you come up onto your toes as high as you can. Then use your arms to push you back down, bring your head through, and bring your heels to the floor. Up for strength, and down for stretch. Now for this one, we can grab a little bit more in the chest by not bringing our heels to the floor and trying to push your chin towards your feet. See if you can find that stretch in the front of your shoulders. Push forward with your lower body, and then use your arms to push you through. And then you can come back to your toes. We can go back into this calf stretch. Oh, so good. Just up and down. So your legs are fighting, your arms are winning. When you go into the calf stretch, your legs win to bring you forward, and your arms fight. Nice job, guys. Nice job. All right. Whew. Okay, let's go into a lat stretch. You know, we haven't done the lats on the child pose lat stretch for a few days. I really like it. So let's do that one. Okay. All right, on your knees. You're going to take your right hand, this is the right hand, bring it across to the left side of your mat. So you're going across the floor. Then pull with your right hand towards your right knee. So your mat is, or your hand is pulling diagonally from the left corner to the right edge of your mat, okay? But because your mat's there, it's going to stop you. So that's where our resistance comes in. So you kind of like pin your hand to that point in your mat, and then very slowly drop back until you start to feel the stretch here. And then you use your arm to pull you back up. And you use your lower body to pull you back. And you can play with this stretch a little bit by just wiggling your butt. Just a little wiggle. And that'll wrap the stretch a little bit around your shoulders and your back a little bit more. Up for strength. And back for stretch. Wiggle a bit. You can even tap your fingers, that's kind of nice. Change the way your head is laying to see if you can find a different stretch. You just play around with it. Up for strength and down for stretch. And you can go back and forth with your hips. Up for strength and down for stretch. If this stretch feels good, you can start to think about our participation card, which up to this point we've really thought about being this idea of like one muscle participating with other muscles to bring you into balance. And it's fine to keep thinking about that in this one. It's your lats, which is really like having stability through both sides of your body is super important, especially in your trunk, your core. But you can also think about participation in a way of like, how does everyone in your household right now work together to make things move in the right way? How do your coworkers or your friends, or like who has different roles at different times to make sure that everything works properly? So you can put that idea into your headspace too right now if you want, and see how that releases in your body, or see if there's anything there that you can find. It might not be profound, it might be something that just kind of pops into your head, or something that resolves itself later on its own without even thinking about it. Teamwork, guys. It's all about teamwork. Oh. Up for strength and down for stretch. So I have my left hand on the right corner of my mat this time. I'm using my right hand for stability if I need it, but you don't have to. You can put it behind your back. You can do whatever. Have it wherever you need it. Wiggle your hips for a little extra stretch. It might even be interesting at this point, especially if you're working, how to think about how management is changing, how the ideas of management have changed, how this whole new cycle in life will change the way that people relate to each other and change the way that we interact with our energies. It is kind of fascinating, isn't it? Tap your fingers if you feel like you like that stretch. Play around with this one, it's so nice. All right. Okay, and then we're going to go into a stretch for the top of your shoulders. Now we usually do this one like this, and if you like this deltoid stretch and you know it, you're welcome to do it. But I think instead today, we're going to go into a bridge. So come onto your back. Bring your hands all the way towards your feet. They don't have to grab your feet or touch your feet, but you want to reach there. That's going to lengthen out your deltoids here, and that's how we're going to access this top part of your muscle. Although you might not feel them, but they're still stretching, okay? It's going to go up through your neck too. When you do this bridge, don't look at the computer. I don't want you to turn your head to the side. I want you to look up to the ceiling. So watch me a few times. You can see how it goes, and then do it on your own. But only look to the side if your whole spine is on the floor, okay? This way you won't injure your neck, okay? Make sure you stay really safe. So reach your hands towards your feet, look up towards the ceiling, lift your hips. You're kind of going to squeeze your glutes a little bit, press through your feet, bring your hips up as high as they'll go. From here, you're going to push with your feet like you're trying to throw your body that, like towards your head. And slowly, slowly, slowly drop down to the floor. Reach with your hands towards your feet. And then up for, this is the stretch here. Bringing your hips up towards the ceiling. And then very slowly down. And you might notice that you really feel your vertebrae hitting the ground. For those of you who are Ki-Hara people, this would also be your wall roll down, which we're not going to do online because I feel like it's just a little too risky for your neck. But if you know that stretch, feel free to do it. It's kind of awesome. Hips up, reach with your hands towards your feet, and low, low, low to the floor, slowly down one vertebrae at a time. Make sure you're always looking up in the stretch, okay? Up for strength. This is a strength through the back. It's really the stretch through the arms. This one, it's funny because it doesn't feel like much of a stretch, but basically what's happening when you're kicking your heels up is that your arms are coming back like this, right? So you're definitely getting a little bit of stretch through your neck and your shoulders, but it might be subtle, and that's okay. Sometimes a subtle stretch is all you need, right? I need to drink like 12 glasses of water today. All right, what's next? I think the back of your shoulders. Yeah. Well, let's do one of my favorite Ki-Hara stretches. You're going to come up into a lunge. Your right leg behind and your left leg in the front. The lunge here is square, so I'm not leaning more on my right leg or my left leg. Everything is balanced out between the two. Take your right arm and bring it up like it's 90 degrees here. It's like you're pulling a train whistle. And then cross it over your body. From here, make sure there's resistance between your left leg and your elbow so that you don't collapse your knee in. I don't want it to look like this, but you should be pushing out so that this knee is right over your foot and everything's really stable. Then from here, grab your wrist with your opposite hand. So this is my right hand and left wrist. You're gonna resist like you're trying to open a gate, like you're pushing it open. Then your left arm is gonna pull you towards your hip. You can just go back and forth. Now, if you can't get your right arm over your knee, just sit tight for a second. I'll show you a different option, okay? Open for strength and close for stretch. You should feel this in the back of your right shoulder. This is a favorite Ki-Hara stretch. If you really reach through your hands like jazz hands, it'll be even more intense. And if you want an even deeper stretch, look over your left shoulder to get a twist. You'll get a deeper stretch that way too. So open for strength, close it up for stretch. Looking over your shoulder. Full twist. So good. Okay, for those of you who need the variation, you can sit however you feel comfortable. You could even stand up if you want to. Bring your right arm up and grab your elbow with your opposite hand and try to pull both arms apart. I'm mirrored, so let me do it this way. So your right arm is up and your left arm's here. So you push open to the right and then you pull across to the left. You should feel this in the back of your shoulder, like right back through here. Open for strength and close it up for stretch. Okay? It's pretty good stretch usually for most people, right through the back of the shoulder. If you don't feel that or if you feel pinching in the front, then just skip this stretch. You don't need to do it. And then we're going to switch sides. So bring your right leg up front, take your left arm and reach it over. Grab your wrist with the other hand, push open for strength, then close it up for stretch. And you just go back and forth. Open for strength, close for stretch. And if you're doing the other option, feel free to switch on your own time. Okay? If you want a deeper stretch, make sure you put your jazz hands open and look over your right shoulder. So open for strength, close for stretch, add that twist. Oh, it's good. So good. Open for strength and close for stretch. Good. Okay, guys, let's see. Okay, it's about 10 o'clock. It's a little later than 10 o'clock, so we're going to have to stop there because I have to teach someone in England how to stretch. So, we're doing that. For those of you who are interested ever, I do teach certification courses. So reach out if you're interested or check out my website, stretchchi.com. For those of you who are making money right now, if you feel like contributing to the Stretch Chi, I have a description in the link below. You can give me any sort of contribution that you want, from $1 to $1 zillion. It's up to you. But for those of you who are not making money right now, please don't contribute. Like, you don't need to. It's okay. But it does help me to stay open, so anybody who can, please do. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Click that little button there. It really helps. Tell your friends. If you really like Ki-Hara, tell your friends about it. This is a really amazing method that people just don't know about. So do your best to share the word. I'm trying to do mine. And I will see you guys later. Classes are Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at this time at 9 a.m. Central Time, but also Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. So hope to see you there, and have a great week, guys. Okay, bye-bye.